back, dear students. Good morning. Today, we are going to see the climax of the storyline in the Jewel. So, as we have seen, as we know already, the story is sectioned into three: morning, noon, and night. And for our convenience, I have sectioned the night into two sections, part one and part two, as it is very long. And today, in today's class, we will look into the summary of the night or the climax of the storyline in the Jewel. Come, let's get into the class. Before getting into the class, we will just have a recap of our previous class. So in the previous class, we saw what happens in the night. So Sidi is seen in the marketplace, and now Sadiku arrives, and he takes a log of wood and considers it as a bale and starts dancing. As Sidi sees Sadiku dancing, Sidi comes near Sadiku and asks the reason for her happiness. And Sadiku says the secret to Sidi. See, the secret of Baroka's laws of manhood. Now, what Sidi does is she gets the permission from Sadiku to go to the palace of Baroka to mock Baroka. This time, Lakunle arrives, and she also comes to know the secret of Baroka. And when Sidi wants to go to the palace of Baroka, Lakunle begs Sidi not to go to Baroka to tease him, but Sidi goes away. Now the scene shifts to Baroka's palace. In the Baroka's palace, Baroka is seen wrestling with a wrestler, and he initially behaves very indifferently to Sidi, but slowly Baroka asks Sidi to sit and watch the wrestling game, and he says, Baroka says, uh, he never wrestles with the man who he has won already. So every time he wins a wrestler, he changes his wrestler. And he implies that he used to marry every now and then when he gets bored. That's what he implies to Sidi. And Sidi start teasing Baroka. He says if his younger wife is very happy, and Baroka answers he never worries what his wife thinks about. Now again, Sidi tells about his new suitor for marriage, and Baroka asks if he has a number of questions about the suitor, if he is rich, if he is good, all of those questions he asks, and Sidi answers all those questions, and at last Baroka asks if he is able to beget children, and Sidi says in the past he was able to get children, but now I think he will not be able to. At this point, Baroka wins the match, and Sidi celebrates the victory of Baroka, and Baroka comes slowly near Sidi and uh, hold Sidi and sits near Sidi. So that we stopped in the last class, and we'll continue now. What happens next? Now, Baroka comes near Sidi and sits close to Sidi. Now he hands an addressed envelope to Sidi. He asks her if she knows what it is. She says that it is a stamp. He goes near a strange machine. He pulls the lever up and down. He asks Sidi to come over to see it. He says that he will print her image in the stamp. Sidi starts to dream her image on the stamp. Baroka says that he does not hate progress, he only hates its nature. Uh, he further says that he loves the change that occurs naturally. He says that the progress should not be forced. Sidi listens in confusion. She tells him that he speaks like the school teacher, Lakunle, but she's sad. She, but she sadly says that she has a simple mind. Baroka pats Sidi and says her mind is straight and truthful. He admits that he and Lakunle are great. He says that they must learn from each other. The old and the new must join, like the old wine thrives in the new bottles. Sidi looks at Baroka. Her head slowly drops on the shoulders of Baroka. As the scene shifts to the marketplace, a troupe of dancers fills in. Female dancer pursue a male dancer. Lakunle and Sadiku are waiting for Siddhi's return. Lakunle is very nervous. He plans to risk his life to save her by going to the palace of Baroka. The mind players are coming in the distance. Sadiku tells Lakunle he ought to pay for the performance. Lakunle refuses initially. But when the mind players come close, Sadiku grabs the money from Lakunle's pocket and gives it to them. The mind players dance the story of Baroka. It first shows him so in his prime is in his youth, but then shows his downfall. Sadiku is given the honor of participating and killing him. Him refers to Baroka. Lakunle enjoys the performance against his willingness. Sidi suddenly comes running in, sobbing, crying. She asks Sadiku not to touch her. Lakunle thinks that she has been beaten. Sidi says that Bale has made everyone fool. Lakunle is horrified and asks if she is still a maid. Sidi shakes her head no. Lakunle reconciles, but then stands tall. He says his love is selfless and he will still marry Sidi. He also does not need to pay the bride price anymore because she is not a maid. Sidi looks at him, puzzled. She asks if he would still marry her. Sidi goes away. Sadiku follows Sidi. Sadiku tells Lakunle that Sidi is getting ready for the marriage. Lakunle is a bit confused and replies that he needs some more time to consider his marriage. A crowd and musicians arrive. Sidi enters. She is lovely and clothed in rich dress. She hands Lakunle the magazine. She invites Lakunle to the wedding. It confuses him. She says she cannot even think the touch of another man after Baroka. Lakunle tries to stand in her way, but she pushes him away and moves to the palace of Baroka. Sidi kneels before Sadiku, who blesses her fertility. The musicians play and sing. The air is festive mood, and the young girl mocks at Lakunle. Lakunle runs after those young village girls. Sidi moves towards the palace of Baroka to marry Baroka, and Sadiku follows Sidi. This play comes to an end here. So the play ends with the victory of tradition, and the modern is mocked at. Lakunle is mocked at, and the tradition Sidi and Baroka wins, and this play ends with the victory of tradition and mockery of modern. Thank you, dear students.